Welcome to Spoken Synergy. This is the podcast where creativity and intuition brings magic to people's lives. We are here on Wandjirabara country with the beautiful Ryan from Mountain Peak Media in the background, pulling all the magic strings. Our guest today is Ange Wild. She is a sales coach and trainer and creator and founder of Life School, and I'm so excited to have you here. I've got so many questions. The first one being, how are you feeling?
Oh, hey guys. Thank you so much for having me. It is really an honour to be here, and what a beautiful setting, Ryan. It's magic. I love it. Super powerful. Feel really honoured to have been asked here. So
thank you.
I will start off by checking in with my feelings around, I do feel really honoured. I've watched you from afar, very close proximity here. I am Mountain Fae as well, and it feels super exciting. I was just sharing with you guys that, you know, the more I can stay up here on the beautiful Tambourine Mountain, the more home it starts to feel for me. I've been here 12 months. So coming here feels home. It feels of purpose. It feels really intentional. I can feel my body excited. There is a sense of nerves. You've said we've got 45 minutes, and I'm like, wow, I just so desire to express myself in the most authentic, genuine way. And there comes a sense of nerves and anticipation with that. I also feel, I can feel my face like a lot of joy sitting here today with you guys, and really, fortunate to sit with a woman who brings out my best.
Oh, beautiful.
And I feel seen.
I love that.
So that's I'll check in with joy, feeling seen, really honoured, grateful and excited, and a nice juicy sense of nerves in my belly.
Yep, nice. I love that. Ryan, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like, I had Rona 2 weeks ago.
Great.
And it just kind of shaking off the last of the fatigue, and I love this creative process, so I feel like it's been a little while since I've done it, and it just feels like the flow.
We're back.
Great.
I just feel grateful that I get to do this and share and give voice and visuals to beautiful stories and inspirational people like yourself, and just feel honoured and grateful.
I think we have a frequency match, because I could probably mirror all of those feelings now too. There's gratitude there, which is the softening part. There's definitely a bit of joy when that mixes with the nerves. There's like an internal fire thing going on, which is good. That's good fuel. So one of the things about Spoken Synergy is we all get in a really nice frequency match together, and then the magic starts to happen from there, and we all start evolving together, and that's my favourite part.
Yum.
So
occasionally I'll chime in with some
to break it up a bit. We get Ryan moments, which we love. Okay, first question is, right now you're doing Life School.
Yay.
You're a sales coach. You're doing all the things.
Yes.
Super powerful. What's your story leading up to this point? Is there part of your life story that we could hear about? Because not everyone starts in this powerful place.
No, and I certainly didn't.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your story. I'd love to hear it.
Great. I'll go in reverse. So this visual that we get here today, and definitely wearing the tribal alignment clothes,
Beautiful.
Feeling super powerful and feminine. And my name change is really recent. So I was born Angela Lucinda Life. It's a Welsh derivative. And half of my family is from England and Wales, and the other half are a mixture of Australian-born, German, French immigrants from that direction.
Nice.
So working back from who I am sitting here with you today as Ange Wild, founder, creator of Life School, which is an alternative homeschooling community up here on Tambourine Mountain.
Beautiful.
That is 12 weeks old.
Oh,
it's only 12
super
weeks
new.
old.
Great.
Yeah, and I do speak about Life School like she is her own unique entity, and that is definitely what I feel and honour and respect her as an energy. And along with that, I've been expert sales coach, trainer in the world of entrepreneurs. And what I mean by entrepreneur is people who have decided to step out of a system where they are told when to show up, what they're worth, and what to do. And they've decided to take that into an independence and create that in their own way that is of service to themselves, society, and the planet.
Thanks for defining that. That's awesome.
Pleasure. And along with that, I've been a speaker, coach, mentor in all sorts of capacities over the last 25, 30 years. So I am 42. I feel as a woman, I'm also a single mum, solo mum, and that was by decision, which is great. And I feel really empowered in my 40s. I went through that Pluto square Pluto space in my 40s. And I feel like 42's taken the heat from below my feet.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, you've got this now and you get to choose. And I have this level of maturity and confidence in my decision making and in who I am being to now own it at a greater capacity. And so the dreadlocks are 3 weeks old.
Yay.
The new style, the name, it's been sitting there in the ether waiting for me to be ready to embody her. And when I started to show up and say yes to myself on a greater capacity, things started to drop. I knew that within my lineage, I've got some Viking ancestry, I've got pirate ancestry.
Cool.
And when I started to decide to go down that path, my capacity to connect to my biological existence started to peel away. And although I love my parents and I honor my parents deeply and they're great humans and we're friends and they're on a great journey, and I get a lot of who I am from my mum's tenacious drive as a businesswoman. She was an insurance broker back in the 90s, high heels, big hair,
Nice.
stockings with the bows up the back, you know, like
Nice.
painting the picture. And she was in the boys club. So I attribute so much to that. My father, very humble, hardworking tradesman that showed me work ethic like nothing, still getting up at 5 o'clock, still to this day in his late 60s, every single morning.
I love that.
You know, so I had this juicy combination. I also had the combination of quite strong money lack stories. My grandmother knew how to make 17 meals out of a roast chicken. And, you know, we would get gifted homemade underwear for our birthdays and Christmas. And they were the 2-pound pom immigrants. Then the combination of my mother's family, quite affluent, never went without, never had a money problem. My grandmother was an only child to very, very wealthy businessmen. So I've had these delicious combinations of belief systems and patterns and ideas and ways of being that have come in, connected and integrated within me. And so going back, I said yes to being called for a weight loss journey 4 years ago. I'd worked for an interesting weight loss company where I helped others go on the journey of weight loss and mindset as I was sitting shoving Big Macs in my mouth, feeling the cognitive
Really?
dissonance. Yes.
Okay.
So it was a super interesting space for me to be of service to others and not to myself.
Interesting.
Right? So I
Okay.
knew how to lose a lot of weight. And the reason I'm sharing this is full transparency. There's nothing that I do as a heart-centered coach, trainer, mentor, guide that I haven't walked the path.
Yeah, I agree
You know,
with that.
and
yeah.
that is something I'm really proud of, and that's something that I really represent within who I am and what I bring to the planet. Is it must be a need that I have fulfilled to the capacity that I'm a few steps ahead of people I can be of service, and then turn around and be like, hey, yo, come on this journey with me. So
Totally.
the weight loss one's been a big one. It's been a real identity shift for me.
How much weight did you lose?
So over my time, I had lost 17 kilos. I put it back on. I've lost 30 kilos. I put it back on.
Wow.
4 years ago, I decided that enough was enough of the roller coaster and the mind shafts that I was going down and climbing back out and going down it. And I didn't like who I was on that journey. And I decided to start investigating surgery and a hard intervention that was like burning the boats. And if you know the analogy of burning the boats,
I
it's
do.
where I decided that there was no going back. No going back. And it's a bit of a pattern that I dip my toe in, I go there, I see I want it, and then I burn the boats.
Yeah.
And so 4 years ago, I went on that journey. And what I looked for was someone that was a role model that's really conscious and was doing the work and had gone down the bariatric surgery path. So I went down that path. Along that journey, found myself in all sorts of spaces and decided that my whole identity needed to change and I needed to come home to myself. And the rune, I've forgotten the name of it now. Ethera? No. It's coming home.
We'll get a picture of it.
I often draw it on my forehead. I've lost the name of it now. And what she means, she kept coming to me in my meditations, was it's the rune that means coming home. And that came to me, so I lent into that. And I decided to have the surgery. And nearly 12 months ago today, was the 28th of May last year, I had surgery to take out 80% of my stomach.
Wow.
So I now have a stomach that is the size of a boiled egg.
And we're nearly 1 year anniversary.
And we're nearly 1 year anniversary.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here and it's all perfect.
Okay.
And that surgery took me on a journey of, now I had this giant intervention and I couldn't go back. My boats were burnt. And every time I felt the emotional stretch, and it's such a metaphor for everything I've done in life. Every time I had the emotional stretch and I really wanted to go back and binge on carbs and binge on wine and binge on cheese and biscuits and all the, I now couldn't. I had to face off with myself constantly. And that's the commitment I've gone on. And I sat with our beautiful friend, the village witch, and I said to her, I know I'm in my chrysalis right now and I don't know what it looks like on the other side. Can you help me figure it out? And we had these really deep conversations around my heritage and my ancestry and my mission. And I got so deeply connected to my mission, my weight loss journey, my family stories, choosing being a single mum and raising a beautiful daughter by myself on this earth in this lifetime, all started to make sense of why I've been and done. I was a real estate agent, hardcore frontline real estate agent for years. It all started to make sense. And when I started to lean into the symbol of coming home, chunk that in with my Viking warrior ancestry, I then started to see the vision of this beautiful warrior, rebel, queen, goddess woman with the dreadlocks, feeling feminine, fully embodied in her mission. And I was like, yep.
So that was like the identity upgrade.
That was the identity upgrade. And our friend the witch, she saw it. She saw it first and she sat there and visualized and said, I see this and I see this and I see parts of this integrated. And I just kept saying yes, and then saying yes brought a dreadlock technician into my life. I did not know there is such a thing called a loctician.
There is, yep.
So life school became all a part of that yes. My daughter and I came back here from Bali, and we'd been living over in Indonesia for nearly 12 months. We came back for an event and the world had this great plan where it would be like, surprise, you're now in Australia and the world is locked down. We'd been home here for 2 weeks at an event on the Gold Coast with 2 suitcases. I was building a villa back over in Bali. Jada was enrolled in a life school over there. We'd planned all this travel. We were going to go from Australia to from Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, South Africa, UK, Vietnam, Cambodia, back to Bali to start life over in Bali. Shits and giggles, cosmic joke. The world was like, no, day 3, that you will stay here. And I just had to figure it out. We had 2 suitcases each. We were back here. We had nothing else. And I decided I really got called to the Gold Coast. Just the energy here felt so much more in alignment, and came for a day trip up to Tamborine Mountain, said yes, was like, holy shit, if I can't get back to Bali right now, this has the energy. And I feel like just the yeses, just saying yes. Like I have no idea. I've got no idea why I'm saying yes. Just feels right. It's in alignment. And set up a house. So the last 12 months, I've set up a house from scratch. I've lost 48.5 kilos.
Wow.
I've made over $2 million in my business. Saying no to Jada starting high school traditionally up here was a big one for both of us. We were like, why? For what purpose would we stay in a system that we really don't feel aligned with, that doesn't serve us? And I noticed a bunch of people were being called into my world that were asking me the same question. And I remember saying to my friend, the wizard, I'm like, someone really needs to start up like an alternative school up here on the mountain.
Someone
He's like,
should do
it's
that.
you, Ange. It's you. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a sales coach. I've got things sorted over here. And he's like, nah, you.
Okay.
So I said yes. I did go down a path of looking at franchising another ladies model, which was a great vision. And I'm so grateful for what she gave me, the construct of it. The values weren't in alignment for me. I'm really supportive of what they're doing. It was just not, there was a kink in it somewhere for me. So I went down a different path. Was having a conversation with a girlfriend. She's like, tell me about this school that you're creating, which did have a different name. And I said, oh, I'm not going down that path. This is life, right? It's the school of life. And I'm still trying to come up with a name. And she said, why not Life School? And I said, makes sense.
Brilliant.
And I said, she went and grabbed a laptop, turned it around. She said, 7 years ago, a mate of mine and I paid for all the graphics. We paid for a non-for-profit company. It's called
Really?
Life School, and we never used it. It never grew legs.
Really?
Do you want it? And I'm like, I was like, yes,
That's
yes.
amazing.
Right. And so the trust was just represented so many times that when I had a beautiful woman tell me years ago, the universe's job is to give you the breadcrumbs. Your job is to pick them up.
I like that. Yep.
And so for me, I was like picking up breadcrumbs left, right, and centre, put them in my pocket, no idea what I was going to do with them until then they're all making sense and coming together. So Life School was birthed. We're 12 weeks old, super conscious community. My business partner, Danny Redbard, Mountain Fae, super creative human.
Yeah.
We're having a ball. We're attracting in epic people. I can't even describe to you the alignment that's happening here. I could not make this shit up if I tried. It's just that trust of saying yes, doing my own inner work and taking massive fucking action with what I'm being gifted when it scares me the most. So that representation of it's so exciting and it's so scary, that's the sweet spot and the precipice of free fall now. Dive in. And so, Ange Wild. I let go of my biological name. I embodied a name that I'm choosing for myself that embodies my mission, my energy, wild by name, wild by nature, and the diversity. And even speaking to Ryan, the other day, we're going to do a photo shoot together, and I decided I didn't need to fit in a box of what I want to show up as, and it gets to be all of it.
Yes.
And I think even sitting here with you, speaking to your audience, I really decided today, like, there's no script required.
No.
It'll flow. And that's the maturity, Heather, for me.
Yeah.
So my journey, thank you for asking, has been from the girl, the maiden, now the woman who's really embodying those parts and bringing them together. They're not sitting at a table advising her anymore. They've become one. And the courage to say yes to what serves my mission. 48 kilos, name change, Mountain Fae.
Wow.
Warrior Queen.
Amazing.
It's all there.
I love that story so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
There is one part of that I just want to dissect a little bit, probably because some of the people that were jumping on to watch this might need this information. So you're sitting here now aligned with all of that. If you could talk to your 48 kilo heavier self back in the past, to give her like one snippet of information that was really important to plant in her consciousness about her journey towards more wellness, is there one thing that you could isolate, that you could tell her, whisper in her ear, drop into her subconscious, something like that?
The vaguer version, the chunked up version would be, you know you're enough. Trust that.
Okay, so it was worthiness
Yeah.
that is what like fractures that sense of home.
Yeah.
Because if you look at someone that is adamant that they are not worthy, they sabotage everything. You could put them in huge amounts of success,
And I was.
perfectly orchestrated, and they go, you know what, wasn't good enough.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And sometimes we're so stubborn and adamant for that level of self-worth because we're scared, right? Because you could
Scared.
probably feel 10 years ago that Ange Wild was about to be born.
She was always there. It was like, you know, it's like the opposite now. It's like I play dress ups on the daily now, and it feels so much more authentic than I used to call myself the Kmart queen, you know, and I had the money. I wanted to be so mainstream, so I fit in, so I blended. And it came from a space of, I remember and I'll go down a bit of a rabbit hole to answer that question, is a beautiful mentor said to me, for what purpose does being overweight serve you? And I was like, oh, here we go. The negative in the positive. What is that? And it's taken me years to really, truly get to the crux of that answer. And it kept me safe on a level where I kept allowing myself to sabotage.
Yeah.
Allowing myself to not be enough, allowing the validation of not being enough to be so true for me. And then going back to where did I first decide that?
Yeah.
And knowing that my beliefs from a little girl, and we know to be true that we're so imprinted at the age of 7 and around that space, when as a little girl did I decide I wasn't enough? And it's trivial things. And I love my dad and he's a hardworking man. And I remember around that age, go away and watching the news. Mum answering for him. Dad loves what you're doing, honey. Me thinking, well, no, he doesn't because he's not acknowledging me. What did I have to do to earn it? So I started to make up lies. My imagination got to lead the way in false, you know, ways of being. And so it's almost like hypochondria when a person chooses to create an illusion of an illness. I became fat to create a problem that was physically seen.
Yes. Yeah.
So then it validated always being in my victim.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a long
And
time to know
everyone
that.
can see it.
Yeah.
Everything that's sort of displayed in the exterior is usually trying to grab that attention for, I'm not feeling safe, I'm not feeling well, I'm not feeling home in my body. We would say in Chinese medicine that that's indicative of skin things too.
Yeah.
So anything on the exterior is something that you need people to witness.
Yeah.
But it's always coming from an internal balance or imbalance. But yeah, I talk a lot to my clients and my students about really coming back to the earth element, which is the mother, which is safety, which means we're going to have to be better mothers than our mothers ever were if we're going to look after ourselves in exactly the way that our body needs. Even if your mum was an impeccable mother, which mine was, I still have to go a little bit further because she's still external to me and she doesn't know as well as I do how to look after myself in exactly the right frequency.
Right.
So it's that internal gauge system, that home, that safety. And I know a lot of people that are choosing surgery, I guess because after a certain amount of time, habits get very deeply rooted in us. Our sense of safety gets part of our identity. Why not go for an intervention that means you can't go backwards? Because if you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s and you haven't been able to solve that problem yet, then maybe it is okay to go down that option and then start the new mother journey from there. Because I literally can't get in the way of it now.
Yep.
My stomach has been upgraded in alignment with what I need.
And look,
So I love that story.
I love that you've brought that up and presenced it in the space. My triggers were quite activated last week when a woman said it was an easy option and it's a cop-out. And I have heard that. And yes, for some, for sure. It's for what purpose am I making this decision? And for whatever purpose each individual makes that decision. And sometimes it might genuinely be, I don't want to do the hard work. I chose it as the hard work because I knew deep within me, in my soul, what I was going to face off. You know, I do presence and have an awareness of, there are some people that come out of surgery and they still eat cheeseburgers and drink Coke and do all the things that led them to where they were in the first place, and they now just eat smaller amounts because of the restriction. I chose it almost like going to Vipassana.
Yes.
Same sort of principle, is it was drastic, and I was very aware that in this lifetime I did not want to wait to be the better version of myself.
Yeah.
I knew I could have gone on the journey, and yes, I could have 100% seen, you know, more shamans, done more work, done more healing, done more plant medicine, done more, with no certainty it would have had the outcome in this lifetime. And I felt very, very called and very comfortable with my decision as I went into surgery that this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to play really big. I jump. I don't tiptoe, and I really own it. So I'm really an advocate for using the technology, for using what we've got here in this human experience to support us. It's great to be all in our spiritual and play in the fifth dimension and hang out with the realms. We are having a human experience, and for me, this version, saying yes to surgery, which has been no easy feat, has been a huge representation of, I had to come up with nearly $30,000. I've had to completely shift everything in my existence. I now can't socially eat, drink, play in the ways I used to. I've had to relearn, just like my money story, I've had to relearn my food story and my relationship to socializing. And, you know, I said no for a long time going out for a drink. Now I can go up to the gin bar and have a drink and know where I'm at and what I choose. So
how good's the gin bar, by the way?
how
The
great
airy.
is the airy? Yeah, I'm a big
Loving
fan.
it. Loving it. Okay, I love this conversation. It reminds me of when we train students in shamanism, we talk about the biggest unravelings, the biggest initiations, the biggest tests that you'll ever have as a shamanic student. The language we use is your guides will take you through a dismemberment, right? Where they have your consent and permission to pull you apart and put you back together. And you'll never be the same again. So sometimes that happens in traditional ways. You go out into the bush, you rely on them solely, and that's part of your training. Whether you're scared or you think you might get eaten by something or whatever, that's the old school training, you take the risk. In modern society, for us that are in cultures that aren't defined with old school shamanic cultures, so we learn core shamanism, which is a collection of the methods, it's not imitating any culture. We have to go through our own dismemberments in a way that's appropriate to our society and our culture.
Yes.
So surgery is a dismemberment for us. You gather yourself, you prepare, you know it's going to hurt, you're going to be healed, you know there's risks, you're going to be scared, but it is our version of being pulled apart and upgraded and put back together. You'll never be the same again.
Perfect.
I mean, you could get in the way of that dismemberment and block it all. But however it happens beautifully and perfectly for you and your system with your guides. So I say to a lot of students, I would love to conveniently dismember you in a class when it's all safe and fluffy and you can have your blanket. It's not going to happen. You're going to be out there one day, you're going to be heavily triggered by something, and you're going to run into an iceberg of a situation. Someone's going to reject you and it's going to open up this huge wound and you're going to fall apart. If you know that you're in that dismemberment, we can work with it. But what I'm going to ask you to do is go and meet with your guides and ask for more pain. Give them consent to rip you apart. And all you have to do is surrender to the process and have faith that they will put you back together. There is no guarantee. I cannot know and I cannot tell you if you're going to be okay. Same with the surgery. There's risks. You could go in.
Bleed out, die.
Yeah, exactly. You have to gather the resources, but you made it a part of your intention for that
100%.
to never be the same again, which means I'm going to pack up everything that I was and put them away. which I think is really powerful. People
Yeah.
being dismembered all over the place, but they think they shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be this hard for me to go through a small thing. Well, welcome to your dismemberment. It's your own particular flavor. Your ego's not going to like it, sorry. And other people are not going to understand it.
Yep.
Like it's a cop-out. Well, if I can go through every experience in my life as if it's the biggest training program ever, then here I am
100%.
learning from this tiny little ego death that happened, and there the iceberg is.
Yes.
So I like
great.
that you've woven that weight loss journey in there and that you've had that identity upgrade. And sometimes it does take painting a new picture of who you are in a completely different framework and going, actually, that looks all right.
Yep.
What drastic measures would it take for me to get there so I don't yo-yo in and out?
Yep.
Because we do, and it's exhausting. But if I want the full upgrade and I want another one and another one,
Yep.
what do I have to let go of?
So 12 months. 12 months, complete upgrade, and physically. And now, okay, cool, next.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not repeating the same patterns. And I noticed in my life, I've done the same thing, Heather, with money. You know, I had a death of the money ego, that I had this story that good people were broke, rich people were greedy.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, hung myself on the crucifix and had that death over and over and over, asking myself, how is this ecological? For what purpose am I playing out this pattern? And if I'm truly to look at the greatest version of myself, and I know, you know, for the more spiritually connected, that would be the highest self, or, you know, soul intention, divine purpose. For more conservative, it would be the unconscious mind. For me, it doesn't matter what we call it, is what are we here for? And are you taking steps towards it? So being broke for me and choosing the broke single mum victim path, it didn't serve Ange who she knew she was here to be.
Yeah.
So I was sabotaging, or I was denying, or I was resisting and avoiding. I'm not just here to shit, eat, breathe, and, you know, take up space. I'm here to do what I need to do in this lifetime to shine a light and make it a better place. So I constantly ask myself, for what purpose, what resources do I need? And in this human experience, what can I call on to my advantage? I like the things that, you know, I love that I live in a house that has aircon. Thank you. I love that I can drive a car and I don't have to run or ride a horse. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super grateful for the upgrades in this human experience that I get to weave into my human spiritual connected experience to be the greatest version of myself. And money, health, relationships, I often teach my clients through very simplistic wheel of life coaching that until you're striving to be a 10 out of 10 in all areas of life, it's the polarity. If you've got a great relationship with your partner and a shit relationship with money, you're just projecting from one to another, and that's not balance.
Sure.
You know, there's no
absolutely.
flow, and then there's like a kink in your hose somewhere, and then it will show up somewhere in your health, in my health. And that's for me. I remember the most money I'd made was when I was the largest size I ever was on stage with people clapping and thinking I was awesome. I didn't really have a purpose to change apart from the disconnect to my mission, which then drove me, and I could feel the dis-ease in my body in this blanket. And then when I started to lose a lot of weight, I started to lose a lot of money. So the focus shifted, and I was running 5 kilometers a day, and I was fasting, and I was starving, and I was doing all the things. And then my bank account went right down, and I was giving up and sabotaging in that space. So the journey was do that, now do them together. And my next phase is I feel like I've been on my solo quest for long enough now, and I'm really calling in that soul-aligned relationship. You know, so for me, it's this delicious, like, diving into my sexuality, diving into who I am as a 42-year-old woman that gets to be fully expressed in this version. I had to clean up the relationship with myself, with money, you know, with who I represent, and step into this version, and now open myself up to be loved, because I love myself so much at the same capacity.
I love it. I love it.
Great that it all gets to...
Yeah. And it sounds like, I mean, I talk about gathering resources a lot. That sort of brings in, well, what capacity do we have to be creative, and what are we actually working with here? What time, money, supportive relationships, information, knowledge, health do we have to actually spur forward? How much have we got? How much is in the energy tank? Most people will have a few of them coming in, no problem. But there'll be a couple of avenues that are always sabotaged, or there's barriers, or I'm not quite ready for that. But when they can heal that pathway and allow it in and actually embody it, then we get these huge resource upgrades. So for you, it's like when the supportive partner comes in and loves this version of you and says, how do I support you? Do everything that you want to do, but I'm being sovereign over here.
Right.
Your capacity for safety is just going to like triple.
Yeah.
And then you'll be that much more powerful to go out and do the things that you need. And let's actually talk about money, because
Favorite.
so if we don't have, we live in a money-based society already. It's one of the resources, right? Whatever your relationship with it is, if you can't allow it to come in and fill up your being, fill up your life, and if it's always leaking out, then we have a problem with a relationship that could be serving you, right?
Right.
So you can only fill up, I call it the basin of safety, that first base chakra. If you can only fill that up a certain amount of way with no money, you'll never get to 100%.
Right.
You just won't get there. If your bank account's always low, you'll always be pulled back into the 3D experience to sort that out. And then the law of attraction will bring in all the bills and the overdue things. And it's just like, can I get a break? If we change our relationship with that as resources, I could solve a lot of problems with money. I could be more creative. I could have an identity shift. I could help more people, whatever it is. We can reframe that, build the resources even more. Like I have this craving that I just want to put $1 million in everybody's bank account and see what happens. And see where their programs reflect, how they project out, what they do with it. Most of us will sabotage it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Right? We buy the Ferrari and it crashes. We think this is going to solve all my problems, and we go out, universe says no. But what if we just held on to that container of resources? How long would it take for us to actually understand where to put it sustainably and from sovereignty? Like, where are we going to put the $1 million? Are we going to funnel it back into the things that make us feel in love and joyful about the human experience?
Right.
Or are we going to give it away to a bunch of people? Most people give it.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to those people that are hungry or whatever, or the illusion that they are.
Yeah.
Okay, how much are you going to keep? What's going on here? What would actually draw it out of your bank account? And what would it take for you to hold on to it? And just sit with it. Like you said, your business is like an entity in itself. And I speak to my business projects too, like they're my children. Like, what would you like?
What would you like
today?
How can I love you?
Yeah, how do you want to be seen? Do you like this colour palette? Do you prefer this one? So as a sales coach, you help beautiful, artistic people, creative people.
Yeah.
If they could take one step forward towards discipline, maybe it's that masculine force, drawing more money in, holding it, using it in the right way. Let's workshop that a little bit. What could they start doing that you see as a really big barrier for people? What's a step they can take?
Lots.
That's a big question.
Lots.
We've
Great.
got 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. Know your
joking.
mission, take the steps
joking.
towards it.
I'm joking.
And that's truly it. Like on the Vegas level, I would say, know your fucking mission and do what it takes to execute that. And you can't do it without a level of abundance. It's fuel.
So
you can't
clarify the mission.
You can't have warmth from a fire without chopping wood.
Nice. I like that metaphor.
Lots of metaphors around that. And so for me, step one, 23. I go through 23 principles of success with my clients, and one's dropping in now is decide what you want. Most people don't have what they want because they don't decide that they actually want it. Maybe, could, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Ferrari'd be nice.
They don't say, I want.
Yeah, this is what I desire from the deepest soul-connected part of me. And I love the 3 words, for what purpose.
Okay.
Get that? For what purpose? Do we do anything that we do?
Okay. Yeah.
Having a shower tonight, for what purpose? Are you really dirty, or is it because mum said your whole friggin' life, have a shower after dinner? For what purpose? You're a grown fucking adult. Decide why you're doing what you're doing and decide what it is you want. If you don't need money for that,
Yeah. Okay.
great. So, couple of things. One of the 23 principles of success, decide what you want.
Clarify it.
Clarify it. Get super, super congruent and clear, and does it align with the highest version of yourself? What I see is, and as an NLP trained practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming, what I understand is our values levels as we evolve as humans. A lot of people decide that they want to become really spiritually connected because it feels great. Yeah. And on the shadow side of that, it could also be a bullshit cover up for not taking responsibility. So the three
Ooh, feel
human
that.
needs: awareness, honesty, and responsibility. Conversations with God. If we teach our children responsibility, awareness, and honesty, we're done. Minted parenting. That's it. So if we embody that now as adults and we parent our inner child and our adult self, awareness, responsibility, and honesty, are you being honest with yourself what you really want? Are you super broke on Centrelink, mooching off a fucking system that you want to get out of and saying, I'm divinely aligned and I want to give back and create impact? Bullshit. That's not honest. Get real and decide what's in alignment with those three things.
Yeah. I like that.
Have that conversation. And is it ecological? I'm such a big, big advocate for basing everything on ecology. Is it good for me?
Yep.
Is it good for others? Is it good for society? Others as in individuals.
Yeah.
And is it good for the planet, bigger picture?
Okay, so that's sort of like, is it harming anyone if I go after what I want and desire because I have a purpose and a mission?
Great.
You got to check in with that.
Yeah. So Elon Musk right now, wealthy guy, knows how to make coin, great, wants to create a planet like a Mars, create society on Mars. Awesome dude. However, you have enough money to create so much down here. He could fix hunger. So there's a gap in ecology for me there.
Okay.
For what purpose? Is it just status? Is it because you can?
Yeah, okay. So checking in with all of those that I would call like sustainable avenues of positively imprinted worth.
Right.
Because otherwise it's going to get risky. You are going to go towards greed and why am I doing this and just serving yourself and all those things. We are hardwired to like connect to each other and serve each other and love each other. So is what you're doing with all your resources mean you're going to get more love?
And over-programmed in that, Heather.
Totally.
So I feel like we're in a real people-pleaser society.
Ugh.
How many times people, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, just take up space. You didn't do anything wrong by being you. If
Yeah.
you walked through the door first, the apology is not required. It's cool, man. Like, we've learnt to become really coerced and manipulated around being less than, having less than, that a humble person is a poor person. Bullshit. I have a lot of friggin' money and I'm super humble.
Yeah.
I'm not flamboyant about it. I don't rub it in people's faces. I'm very generous and I'm super grateful and I'm super independent and I'm super like resourceful and sovereign in who I get to be. And like that serves my mission. I don't need anything from a system that doesn't serve me and I get to say yes. So you could take money off the table as we know it. And this is where I go a little deep. Take money off the table as we know it for whatever reason. If it doesn't align, great. And choose energy.
Sure.
Choose energy. For me, if you show me your bank account, I'll show you where you're doing the work or not doing the work.
Yeah.
You know, so there can't be two versions. You can't live in parts and say you're an integrated human being.
Yeah.
Am I a left hand or am I a right hand?
Yeah.
I'm a body. I'm oneness. You can't have an empty bank account and a full soul and say you're energetically aligned and on your mission.
Yeah, we would say there's a leak there.
Super leak, big hole in your bucket.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, if energy is purely, and like if money is purely an energy and a resource to support you on your mission, then find ways to create money in a way that aligns with your mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Life School right now, it's a passion project. It's costing me money that I've made over here doing things that I love. I truly believe money in the hands of more evolved human beings is where it's at. That's the shift. That's the growth. When impact becomes greater than the reason why I'm doing it. So I want to make money for myself ecologically.
Yep.
For you, others, individual humans, for the society that I live in globally. Yeah, so it's a big picture. A lot of people get resistance, what I see, around making money for me because it feels selfish, and that's a program they've been taught
Yeah.
and they've decided to continue to believe as grown adults.
Yes.
Yeah, share your things. You know, don't have enough for you. Break it in half and share it with your brother. Yeah, it's like, no, what if I wanted it all for myself because I'm really hungry?
Yeah.
So feed yourself first. That is responsible. If we
Yeah.
look at honesty, responsible, and awareness, feed myself first. That's responsible. Have the awareness of creating enough where there's overflow that then you can be of impact. If you're not being responsible and you're relying on anything outside of yourself to sustain your existence, I would consider that selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ask no one for anything, create more than you need, sustain yourself first, overflow feeds the masses.
Yep.
And this is where the more conscious community gets to come into alignment, and I'm excited for the day that that pops in each individual, that they're like, holy shit, I get to do me and have abundance. I get to then share abundance, and I get to create abundance.
Yeah, it's a really cool feeling. There's a lot of barriers moving up to that point. I see a lot of strong conditioning, particularly for women. There's a lot of people pleasing, like you said, overgiving, self-sacrificing. There's a lot of shadow mother tendencies. I need to stay in a support role because that's what society wants me to be in. If I actually stand up and be the powerful version of myself, I might scare someone. Everyone's going to get intimidated. If you're intimidating people and you are scaring them with your power, you're probably doing it right. Or in a way that's in alignment with you taking the risk away from that conditioning that is keeping you small. And let's see who actually really digs you up there.
Yeah.
Like if you can stand in your power and say, this is what I need, this is what I'm doing, you do you, I'll do me, and people go,
Great.
you're amazing,
Yep.
then they're your people.
Yep.
If people go, oh, you're just going too far, you didn't even give me any money the other day and I saw you get so much in your bank account, that's the old codependency links that are falling away.
Falling away.
And that shedding is really hard. That represents a death for people, a death of their identity, a death of that person that would give all of their resources to someone else just to make them feel comfortable, and they're weak in the corner, barely able to feed themselves, but that felt more comfortable because that's the picture that was shown to them is right.
And we get to evolve.
Yeah. It's
One of my
really
favorite sayings is
interesting.
knuckles off the ground, people. We're not apes anymore.
Yeah.
We get to evolve. And again, through my NLP training, understanding values of evolution that's very what we would refer to as level 3 thinking, that we're not in tribal societies anymore.
We're not, that's
We
right.
might want to take some tribal principles and integrate them into this society. We are not foragers, hunters, gatherers anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to go without so my siblings can eat. There is so much abundance on this planet. So much. When we move into higher levels of evolution and I can choose to be an entrepreneur, there are people with money. Like, have you been to Movie World lately? People spending thousands of dollars and waiting in lines for 90 minutes to have 3 minutes of joy on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
There is plenty of money on the planet.
Yeah.
It's a choice. And I don't subscribe to that it's hard. It's a choice to choose what we want and an awareness and responsibility to take those steps. Because staying really broke is hard. Staying in those patterns is hard. Going without is hard. Sabotaging your passionate existence in your creation, that's hard.
It is. It's painful.
Super painful. So for what purpose would you choose that?
Yeah. Well, I guess we're back to like self-sabotage and worth problems, because it's convenient for other people. The way that I sabotaged myself was through addiction.
Right.
Because I could just keep myself small with that, be dependent on something, let that govern my life.
Same as my weight.
Yep. Exactly the same thing. Everybody's got their mechanisms. And the one day that I said, look, this is so uncomfortable. I know in my body that I have more power than this. And this external situation is taking up way too much time, way too much money, and it's robbing me of my health. And I've always been tuned into my health. That's how I was brought up. That's what I studied, health science, right?
Wow.
But I was feeding myself with something that I knew was not serving me, but I wanted to do it because I thought that it was really important to build community. And the people around me were in addiction too. And I thought, this is just who we are. This is how we're going to be. The biggest barrier to me going sober was, who's going to love me? Are they going to want to hang out with me if I'm not going to the pub? It seems really trivial now, but in the end I had to take the risk. Right, if I go over here and I have no mates and I'm not drinking beer all the time,
Right.
that's what I'm deciding to do. I might lose everything. I might not have anyone around me that gets it. I'm taking that plunge because I'm so painful here. There's so much suffering. I don't want to be hungover anymore.
We use the metaphor with that, and I love that you brought that, is we all sit at a table. We choose to sit at a table, and it could be the table of our family that we were raised in, and then our high school mates and our friends and, you know, the party people out drinking. That was me. A great night was what jeans that I was going to fit into, swiping on Tinder, hooking up, getting as nailed as possible, and waking up with a hangover and hoping it was gone by Monday to go back and do work to earn the money to do it again, right?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
And then I decided that table didn't suit me anymore. And you can imagine, I know there's a table that I want to sit at, but I can't find it yet.
Yeah, I don't know what that looks
So
like.
that transition of I'm leaving these mates, beer drinkers, party people, whatever's no longer serving you because you've decided to evolve, I'm done here. There's a part where you're kind of like out blind, like, hello, where are my people? Until you find the people like coming to the mountain and finding you and finding the witch and finding Danny Redbard. And it's like, I'm no longer the weirdest person in my tribe. In fact, get a little weirder, Ange. So you're actually like classified as mountain fae, or she's from the mountain, they say. It's like, hell yeah. You know, like find your mountain, find your table, and it's going to be super uncomfortable. You know, when you decide, you know, and I love the word subscribe, and I've been using, I don't subscribe to Christmas. I don't subscribe to Mother's Day anymore. I don't subscribe. It's like every day's Mother's Day, right? I'm not just a mother on one day of the year. So I've changed my beliefs by choice. And once I have, again, awareness, responsibility, honesty, that for what purpose do I celebrate a day? For what purpose am I spending all my hard-earned money going out getting nailed because I'll fit in here? For what purpose? These people don't serve my mission anyway. Cool. You guys are awesome. Enjoy your party at that table. I'm going to go find another table. Hello, hello. Start to call in by being the next version of myself. I used to get paid out for earning more money than all my friends, for paying for all the cab fares. So I then went out and started to look for people that made more money than me, and it's uncomfortable. You know, when they're now staying at the penthouse and I'm like down in the bottom stalls, or they're flying business class and I'm in economy. And, you know, there's things that I've experienced. It was like, wow, that's how my friends felt back here. And great, I'm now a little fish in a bigger pond. I'm sitting at a new table. My limiting beliefs get blown up. That's now possible. I'm now becoming really great friends with a woman that can make $1 million a month, and she's doing it multiple times. And I'm like, I thought I was a rock star at like 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand. I'm like, I'm going to nail 100 grand in a month and do that. Now it's $1 million. And I'm like, oh, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Dressing like this. One of our friends rocks life as a full-blown witch. And I'm like, gotta up my game. You know, like the table I'm choosing to sit at doesn't stand for jeans and a black t-shirt anymore. And
Sure.
right.
That's exactly right.
Sorry.
I got no
didn't get
words
I
for
didn't
that.
get that.
You just need some dreadlocks. And that's my point, right?
I love it. I love it.
So
Yeah.
I feel like we get to evolve. We
Definitely.
get to choose. And with my clients, one of the first things I do is I go through a deep personal history. And I'm like, okay, let's get it out on the table. Get your gear off energetically. What's
Yep.
and all.
What are we
What are
working
you
with?
choosing to believe? And then I'll dissect it for what purpose. And then they start to do the whole, I actually just choose it. How crazy is that? When would you like to not choose that anymore?
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
And I truly do. I've gone deep down the rabbit holes of psychology and all the work. And healers don't generally love me because I debunked the longevity it takes to create change. I'm like, in a second you could do that. You get that right. It's just a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a decision. What's preventing you from making that decision and subscribing to the limiting choices, beliefs, decisions that you're making that don't meet your purpose?
Yeah,
Boom,
totally.
boom, boom.
Totally. I mean, I will say that I was super grateful to have really awesome people and soul contracts around me. So when I updated myself, changed myself, they were just like, great, do whatever you want. I love you.
Great.
I'll always be here. If you're not drinking beer, let's drink tea. And I was like, wow, you guys are amazing. Or they didn't actually respond that dramatically. They were just like, you're looking well.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I'm sober now. Okay, great. Whatever works for you. Like, oh, it wasn't such a big thing at all. But then I noticed that in my full power form, I could go and visit any table that I wanted.
Great, yes.
Because I then had the confidence and I didn't need to fit in anywhere specifically because I fit in with myself. And then I could dine at anybody's table, no matter what was going on, no matter how many resources I had, and they could either accept me in the moment or not. It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like what you originally said, it's like coming home to yourself. If you're always home, you're not looking for home externally ever. And I guess as we do work with our clients and help them to see for what purpose, doesn't matter whether they are about to get that upgrade, whether they're struggling, yo-yoing or whatever, that question is something we need to remind each other of all the time. Like if something's not working in your life and you chunk it back and you say, why am I doing that thing? What story does that
purpose?
fit into?
Yeah.
And I think before we started filming, we were talking about like there are barriers, particularly to healers and artists making money. There's this romantic idea that we can paint and craft and heal all day long and hang out and meditate and do all the things and abundance will just flow to us and we don't have to do the work with self-promotion, marketing and filling up the bank account so that we can go out and do more. It'd be so convenient if we didn't have to do that part. But that part is a necessary step along the mission. When the mission gets bigger, for me, that just becomes part of it. Of course, social media is in there. Of course, self-promotion. Of course, you're going to have your face on things.
Right.
You avoided it for a long time. But now it's like, let's see if it works and gather the data. Most people have this inherent fear that they're going to be looked at or seen in a certain way. You're going to be looked at and seen in so many different ways, and that's other people's filters and get used to it. But let's like just look into those barriers, particularly around money, particularly with like the artist archetype. What do you think's in the way? Is it just conditioning? Or is it like the belief systems? Or is there a bit more?
Yeah, I feel it's a combination of that. What I feel to share here is a metaphor that creatives are normally quite embodied in their feminine energy. It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's very
Agree with that.
creative.
Yep.
It's very expansive. It's very vague. It's very chunked up all in the ether. And they're working with source. Mostly. This is my interpretation. And great. So a metaphor that I often use with my clients is that's amazing. And for ease of visualization, we'll refer to her as her. She walks out into a beautiful parcel of land overlooking the ocean and she's like, this is amazing. I'm going to build a retreat center and so many people are going to come here and be healed and we're going to do art therapy and we're going to meditate and we're going to do yoga.
Actually.
Right? And so this is the vision and it's exceptional and it's so needed and it's perfect. and I'm going to bring all my healer friends together and we're going to co-create and it's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so every day she rocks up to this incredible parcel of land and she says, where's my retreat center?
Yeah.
Where's my retreat center? Nothing's started yet. I'm not healing people yet. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to journal and I'm going to feel into how connected I can be when the retreat center's birthed.
Yeah.
Great. We've got our masculine, my masculine, sitting over here with his spade going, yo, lady, want me to dig any holes yet? No, I'm visualizing my retreat center. It's great. It's beautiful. All my friends, we're all visualizing the dream. No roof on it yet. No holes, no foundations. You've got nothing but grass.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You're sitting on your yoga mat on the grass, dreaming about a retreat center. It's not impacting on anybody. What it takes is now the integration and awareness of sit with your masculine and be like, yo, masculine, dude, whatever you want to refer to that part of yourself as, what needs to happen to create and execute the vision. And this is where you, as your feminine, hand over in trust to your masculine, change out of your fairy outfit into your suit, and you're like, right, cool, you go park over there in your meditation. I'm going to build a spreadsheet. I'm going to figure out the lengths of the wood, how many holes we need, and I'm going to take logistical action. I'm going to make sales. I'm going to create cash. I'm going to market this brilliant idea to the humans that I want to create impact, and we're going to build the retreat center. So then the feminine can come in and then she can decorate and she can start to execute the vision. If they do not marry up, go in life. I love sexuality. Two lesbians, though, it doesn't matter how hard they try, they cannot naturally create a baby. They need the input of a man. It's exactly how we're designed. So our masculine and feminine, take gender out of it, there's an energetic role it plays. It won't matter if you've got just this giant big feminine. It's like lesbians trying to make a baby. It's never going to happen. You need some intervention. So bring your masculine in, honor that part of yourself, boss up, and whatever it, like for me metaphorically looks like is I legit put on a suit. I have a tone of voice. I take action. I've skilled up. I've really trained myself to know how to do sales in the most heart-centered, integrated way possible. That feels of service because it's always in alignment with my feminine's vision. And understanding it's the steps towards the creation of the vision. So I believe, in essence, it's the disconnect between the masculine, the feminine, the action and you know, the dream. And all I say to my clients constantly is tell me what you want, decide that, and let's be a binary plan between the logistic side of our brain and the creative side of our brain. Park that for a minute, allow yourself to think logically. Houses don't clean themselves, clothes don't wash themselves, food doesn't cook itself. What are the logistical steps that need to happen? And you'll find it's marketing, sales. So have a voice, speak to people about your dream, make sales, take money off people, and if things are stopping you, go clean it up.
Yeah, totally. And it makes me think about the artist that doesn't know why they can't make money, so they go and do another art course. Or the healer that can't get the business side sorted, so they go and do another modality.
It's just buying another block of land to have a dream.
Yeah.
You're not digging holes.
And it's also like, if you have a problem with the scheduling, the discipline, that part of your dream, then that's what you delegate and outsource to. Most people don't want a business coach. They don't want to do extra training in that area because they're not naturally gravitating towards it. But if you're a brilliant artist and you wake up thinking of art every morning, you fall asleep thinking of art, then that's not the area of your life you need upgraded.
No.
You need to outsource to something that's weird and strange and scary and boring or whatever it is, and get someone in to give you that narrative to help you on that part. I've done that before and it's been really beneficial. So whether it's a coach, a VA, someone that has a different, almost opposing contrast to what you would naturally go to.
Right.
Yeah, and I like that. I like the people in my life that go, you've done that before, it didn't work last time, stop doing it. That's silly. And
Well, then it becomes a hobby.
Yeah.
So are you doing it as a hobby? Because you might paint as a hobby.
nice
Great, go find
reframing.
another way to make money.
Yeah. If you want to paint every day, then how are you going to turn that into a career, and how are you going to manage the parts of the career that you're not naturally good at?
Big mistake the creative world makes is they decide that they want their creations to be their business, but they'll treat it like a hobby.
Yeah.
So
No
they're doing it
structure.
for the joy, not like if you really loved it that much, sell it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would question, do you really love it that much, or do you love it that much?
Yeah.
Do it for you then. Then it becomes a self-serving hobby.
And sometimes it's the idea of it. Oh, I like the idea of doing that.
Right.
And the romanticism of it. But the
Yeah.
actual nuts and bolts is like, oh,
The reality is
yeah,
different.
I actually don't like it. And it's reflected in how it's unfolding. 'Cause
100%.
Yeah.
The measure is in how much capacity do you have to share with excitement. Like, you know, you buy a new car. You tell everybody about how amazing your new car is. You get a new partner, you introduce that person to everybody. You have a baby, baby spam, wedding spam, all the things. Because if you don't treat your business, your creation the same way, I'm a healer. Cool, what do you do?
Yeah.
And you're just like, brrr, and excited with that level of influence and impact. I question, it's cool, babe. Maybe it's just a hobby. Go play with your crystals in your time and do your thing in your way. Find another way to make money.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't always have to be because I'm good at this, because I like this, because I think it's cool. Who cares if no one else wants it, or you're not excited to talk to other people about it? That's always my measure is, I've known you and you haven't told me about what you do. I would question, is it really a business for you? Or something that you just love in your own private time?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody cooks food. Not everyone's a chef.
Yeah. And not
Right?
everybody
Everyone
loves
takes
it.
photos. Not everyone's a photographer or videographer. Great.
Yeah.
What is it that you love enough to talk to other people about it, put a price on it, and transact in it?
Totally. I love it. It's juicy. I love
I feel
all
like
of it.
doing one of those rocky runs. Yes. So good.
Adrian!
No, really, you're really inspirational. It's amazing to hear it, and because it feels,
synergy.
you know, when things hit you, and there's a certain vibration of like, okay, that feels like the truth. There's truth in it, you know, and it's like, however you frame it in your own mind, those concepts and the things that you've been speaking about today, it's like, yep.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
if you've never had a coach, try it. That's what
Try
I
it.
say to people. If you've never had someone looking at your career and your problems and everything that you got going on with their own eyes, two people on the one problems, if you've never experienced that, take a risk and put the resources towards it, then gather the data to see if it worked or not. Every time I've done that, coaches for all different parts of my life, the upgrades have been intense and forever flowing and amazing, to the point where I'm like, that's a lot, that's enough. That was 12
Right.
months of real intensity. I'm going to sit with that for a little while until I feel the invitation again. So I think
My
it's a
highest
beautiful
intention
experience.
is, especially with creatives like you guys, you know, is I want to keep you behind a camera. That's the highest intention. Keep people in their genius, helping them have ease and flow in sales and marketing. And you must be able to do it yourself. You are the best person to sell what you are passionate about and love and desire. And then when there's flow, then create a business model. Apple didn't start without Steve Jobs sitting in his garage tapping away. He didn't create, it didn't start with a company. So go where you need to go. And for me, it's stay in your genius, learn the skills that keep you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that for sure. Okay.
Yay.
Yay! We're going to take a break and we're going to set up for the big cosmic joke section.
Ah, that's great.
Where I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and we're going to fumble our way through it. We're going to remind ourselves that when we keep calm, because nothing's in control, we realise that we can think we have this all sorted, but there's actually other forces going on to delight and tantalise the human experience. So we're going to set up for that and come back in a moment. All right, welcome to the big cosmic joke section. I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions and we're going to laugh our way through it. Is that all right?
Totally.
Let's do it. All right. We're going to do it super efficiently. So question 1, which version of the world do you prefer? That aliens came down and crossbreeded with our DNA, or that we were once apes and we started standing up and making shit?
Aliens. Totally on the aliens. Yes.
Awesome. I don't think we've ever had anyone that hasn't said aliens yet.
You know your crew.
Yeah.
You know your crew.
Somehow I think that's got something to do with the clientele.
Yeah, totally. Totally. All right. If you had one superpower, other than your abilities to help people change their lives and make money and do all those beautiful things, what would it be if you had a superpower?
Ooh. To embody all the elements, so I could become water, I could become fire, I could become the earth, and I could become the air.
Oh,
Like
all
just-
at once?
yeah.
Or you could govern all of them and...
Choose, like, you know, the Incredibles? Like, I could just,
Yeah.
instead of having one allocated to me, I could choose to be whichever element I needed to be at the time.
I like that. I like that. Elemental. Fantastic. Okay, what's one advancement from the future that you hope happens?
Oof. I'm going to say artificial intelligence.
Ooh.
And it's controversial. However, artificial intelligence used by conscious humanity.
Okay. To better our lives?
Yeah.
To mean we don't have to do our own washing? What's
Yeah,
the...
like in this physical human existence, there is still the element of time to travel, time to discover, and things take time. So artificial intelligence would bring that in and it would speed things up.
And the artificial intelligence could be the force that builds the retreat.
Right.
And then we could just hang out and meditate and stuff.
Right, so then we, and artificial intelligence will far surpass the lack of evolution within actual intelligence.
I like it. All right, let's roll with that. So what's one thing you would change about your past if you could?
Nothing.
Great, excellent answer.
Nothing,
It
it's
was
all
quick, it
surfing.
came in. If you could hack into your higher self, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, what would you rewire in your favour?
Self-worth.
For you and for everyone? Or,
Woo. For me and for everyone, yes.
yeah, just
my
rock solid
self-worth.
worth.
Yes.
Maybe we could like go back and like hack into the past and put a new program of self-worth in there. So we just got the trickle effect.
Called emotional clearing therapy, Heather. And we
Stop.
can go back in our timeline and decide from perspective positioning what was true in that moment.
I actually visualize, and it might be a bit weird, taking all the babies and just whispering self-worth into their ears.
Yeah.
Just like, you're beautiful, you're worthy, you're loved, all the things. So it like programs their subconscious, but that might be a bit weird when we consent.
Well, curiously, I feel like, did we decide that as a baby that we weren't worthy, or did we decide that as an adult that as a baby we weren't worthy?
I don't know. Maybe we just take all the babies, put them into life school.
Yes!
And then they have a better chance.
Yeah, great.
Okay, great. Awesome. So what's harder for you, patience or eating vegetables?
Patience.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Impatient person, you would say?
Yes, I see greatness and I want it to hurry up and get here now.
Okay, yeah, I do too. I get it. What's the biggest misconception do you think that people have around money?
That it's hard to get, hard to make, hard to create, that it's hard. It doesn't need to be hard. Actually, the etymology of the word hard comes from salt. So they hardened water. So for me, it's like hard work is actually really rewarding. And we've
It is.
decided that there's a belief that it's not good. Like if you sweat and you're digging up your veggie garden and you look back and you see how amazing you made it, or you cleaned your house and you actually did hard work, there's reward comes from hard work. So let hard be great.
So what you're saying is, if you want more dopamine, Go out there and dig in the earth. 'Cause we all
Yeah,
love
go make
dopamine.
money. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when that's what I say, and we install this in our home, is make your bed every morning, because at least if you do nothing else, you've achieved one thing that you can get into a nice bed at night and be like, yeah, I did something great today.
Yeah, I like that.
So
I like
yeah,
that.
eliminate the belief that it's hard.
Okay, love it. So do you agree or disagree with this statement? Whatever you resist persists.
100%. Perspective is projection.
Okay, great. Perfect. Finish this sentence. Creativity is.
Life force.
Ooh, short and sweet. I love it. When was the last time you followed your intuition and it backfired?
Oh, and it backfired. Oh, that hurt.
This
And
question
it backfired.
hurts.
Followed my because my instant response would be, and that was perfect. So I'm looking for the negative within the backfire. Followed my intuition and it backfired. I said I was going to buy a model of a version of a homeschooling community, and I dived in and started to create it before I read the paperwork based on intuition, and it turned out not to meet my values. It backfired and then went in a great direction that was the opposite.
So it all works out.
It all worked out, and
Yeah.
it backfired because I had to go and redo a lot of things that could have saved me time had I have done that first thing
Yeah, but you
before the
learned
intuition
lessons.
kicked in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So usually most people dance around it and then say it's always right. It just looks a little bit chaotic to get you to.
I have a
to be.
saying, stay skeptical with an open mind. And
Yep.
I didn't execute the skepticism and read the fine print, especially in business. So intuition's great until it's in business and costs you time and money.
And is that because you're impatient?
It's a lack of effectiveness, bringing my masculine in to do things correctly. Doesn't need to be right. That's a perception, whatever right means to you. So for me, I lacked being effective in reading fine print, and I based off feminine intuition, and I made a decision that cost me time and money, and I learned from that. So the perfection is in the learning and the expansion. However, I would go back and do it a different way around given the opportunity again.
Beautiful. Thank you for your honesty on that. I love it. So what power animal do you think represents your creativity? If you had one. What would it
Eagle.
be? Please explain.
Eagle, my creativity is I identify as a multi-potentialite, and what I love to do is be creative, move and drop in again, be creative, move and drop in again, and I feel like
so
being
the
the wings
eagle.
of the bird that hovers at expansion. I feel like creative is really vague and big for me. I don't have I choose not to be a finite creator. I create vision and say like business concepts and
Yeah,
big
very
picture stuff.
eagle-like.
So and Eagle Heights, where we so very big picture, mountain top, mountain peaks, all the things. Yeah, definitely the creation of the eagle that gets to sit at the top and look to where I can create and go in and drop vision.
Beautiful. One more question, which isn't on the list, just for funsies. So if you had a power animal that represented like your ability to help people with sales and money, what would that power animal be?
Lioness. Yep.
Okay.
Straight up, like do what you have to do to get to where you want to be, and do it with ease and grace and
Strength.
class.
Yeah. And also resourcefulness, because the
And there is-
lioness does the hunting.
Right, and the reason I say lioness, not lion, even though I feel like the lioness is the most masculine embodied feminine expression.
Okay.
Those two things. She's a powerful mother. She's a powerful sister. She
Yes.
tribes well.
Yes.
She desires the lion and allows it in, and she's adapted his hunting capacity, so she doesn't need him to hunt, but he's there if she does. And so for me, the lioness has that tenacity, that which is what as a saleswoman I need, is to be able to go, I'm not taking your no right now because I don't believe you, and I don't believe you're in a position to say no from the highest version of yourself.
Beautiful.
So it's that push, and I think a lion has the tenacious attitude for someone who wants to create
Beautiful.
abundance.
And now you're just calling in the lion.
That's it.
Oh, I love it. Okay, that was the big cosmic joke section. This has been Spoken Synergy. Thank you for joining us here on Wanjerabara Country. Thank you, Ange. That was so beautiful.
Oh,
And
juicy
we
and
will-
delicious.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan from Mountain Peak Media. We will see you all next time that we get here. And just remember, everything you do is your art. So I hope you go out and make something beautiful today with Source. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.